On the show in Wheelspin, we drive the Nano Twist, a new variant with added features and a power steering. In Wheelspin, we also ride the recently launched Kawasaki Zx-10r. On the road, we drive the Mercedes A-Class to Jaipur. For all of you out there who really think size does matter, I will say only one thing. Yes, indeed it does. And in the case of automobiles, even more so. Small is beautiful. Take a look at this Tata Nano here. It's small, it's beautiful, it's compact, and it's easy to drive and even easier to park in our city driving conditions. And I have with me today a new variant from Tata Motors, the Nano Twist. And the company has added something to it which most drivers will find very, very useful. If Germany got the people's car in the form of the Volkswagen Beetle on the orders of one Adolf Hitler, then India got its own people's car about 70 years later through the efforts of India's leading businessman Ratan Tata, who dreamed of putting many Indians into a low-cost car. The dreams were big even if the car was one of the smallest, and almost 6 years later the Nano had just about managed to survive. But without a question, Nano is one car which had set new standards in the industry for what is now dubbed as frugal engineering, and proven that if there is a will, a car can be produced and sold with as low a price tag as just ₹100,000. And in that sense, the Nano is not only a success but a new benchmark for the industry. This is what the Nano gets now. No, not the steering wheel, but power steering, electric assisted power steering to make driving more easy in crowded city conditions. Tata Motors has been constantly trying to improve the vehicle and make it more attractive for its customers. But that's not an easy job considering the price of the vehicle. The Nano, thanks to its diminutive size, has one major advantage. Maneuverability in city traffic, and the addition of power steering could further facilitate this. In addition to the power steering, the Nano Twist has certainly become more user-friendly and in aesthetic terms better looking. The body color is new, it's called Damson Purple, and this will be available only on this variant, the Twist. Inside too, things have changed. It now gets a dual glove box, which will increase the storing capacity here. The instrumentation cluster now gives you more information, including the distance to empty, which will tell you how far you can really travel before you run out of gas. And it also gets a stereo with a Bluetooth connectivity, and that should be very, very user-friendly indeed. And the power switches have been moved here to make it more ergonomic. All these changes are certainly going to make this variant of the Twist a lot more easier to use and drive. All these new features will no doubt make the Nano more user-friendly, but at the same time more expensive, and it will move it away from its main USP and the initial market positioning of an extremely affordable car priced at just ₹100,000. But with the Twist variant, Tata Motors will try to attract many customers who are not just looking for the basic low-cost car, but a car which is more complete and easy to live with. So possibly the Twist will now cater to a much wider customer base. If I really have to drive a car in crowded city conditions like this, then I would rather be driving this Nano than anything else. It's small, it's compact and highly maneuverable, and this power steering really helps. And for once, I don't really care about the top speed of a car. In fact, this Nano is quite comfortable. It has all the basic creature comforts, and if you are not built like a sumo wrestler, there is actually enough space here. Hey, excuse me, I'm driving one of the smallest cars on planet Earth, so I have the right to squeeze in today. And it fits. This is really nice for city driving. The Nano is powered by a 624cc petrol engine, which manages just about 37 bhp. But with a light and compact body, which weighs only about 600 kgs, the Nano does manage 3-digit speeds with a little bit of patience. But for cruising, it easily comes up to the legal speed limit of 80 kilometers, which should be good for most drivers. It's all very well to drive a car the size of a Nano, but what got me a little rattled at times is being followed by a monster truck which seemed to be stuck on my tail, or at times being squeezed out in heavy traffic. The Nano, with only the basic brakes as onboard safety equipment, will certainly not offer much protection against formidable foes like a bigger sedan, and this is where the Nano becomes a bit vulnerable, especially if you venture out on the highway. At the time of its launch, the Nano was one car which had surprised the world by its sheer size. And even now, there are many people who think the Nano is a bit too small. But I can tell you it's perfectly functional and it's practical with enough space for 4 adults and enough power to drive you around. And basic creature comforts like air conditioning. The addition of a power steering will obviously help. The addition of the variant Twist to the Nano range will only enhance the image of brand Nano and at the same time bring in conveniences and comforts for its potential customers. Obviously this is going to cost a bit more, but then additional features cost and somebody's got to pay for it. The Twist variant will be priced at Rs 2.36 lakhs, which is about Rs 1 lakh more than the basic Nano model. But the Twist is new and certainly offers more car, so in our opinion, if you are not in the penny pinching mode, you would do well to have a look at this new Nano Twist. If it's a nice day and you are on a nice stretch of tarmac, there is no set of wheels which is better than 2 with adequate power and mounted on a chassis which is ready to twist and turn, along with the many curves on the road. A perfect companion for an enjoyable ride, and this is exactly what I had in the form of the recently launched Kawasaki Zx-10r, one of the fastest liter bikes on the Indian road today. In the late 90s, when Kawasaki brought in the Ninja series, they gave a whole new meaning to the word superbiking. The bikes were fast and furious, extremely agile through the corners, and the styling was fresh. In fact, the Ninja remained one of the fastest bikes on planet Earth for a very, very long time. Recently, Kawasaki Bajaj launched the big Ninjas into India, and what I have with me today is the somewhat smaller cousin of the big 14R, the Zx-10r, and she comes draped in the Kawasaki greens. Today in the Indian market, we have an array of superbikes lined up, including the big brother Kawasaki Zx-14r. But the smaller and lower priced Zx-10r can do most of the things that the big ones can, and at times what the big brother can't so easily, which is to change directions quickly and without much fuss. The lighter chassis makes this possible and easy, much to a rider's delight. And on a hilly road like this, it allowed me to hug the road tightly through the corners. And on an open stretch, open up the engine to blast past the ref counter redlining at over 14,000 RPM. And to make things a little more lively, the exhaust shrieked like a banshee every time I opened up the throttle, which is so typical of a Japanese superbike. As I said, I have the much smaller cousin of the 14R, the Zx-10r with me. But make no mistake, she really isn't that small or that slow. The 1-liter engine here belts out 200 PS and the engine is mounted on a much lighter chassis. The bike weighs much less and this is what makes her extremely nimble through the corners. In terms of ergonomics, the Zx-10r is spot on with a low-positioned rider seat, clip-on handles which are easy to grab and the stylish mirrors positioned just right. There is a rare seat on offer, but I feel it will require extreme courage and enormous skill to hang on when the bike is in full flow. The full fairing also helps in aerodynamics and also shields the driver for some of the heat coming out of the engine. The graphics on the fairings give it an easily identifiable ninja look, and the Kawasaki green helps too. The short exhaust, which sounds fabulous, is short and lightweight, and it goes well with the design of the bike. The Zx-10r is lightweight and easy to handle through city traffic or even while parked. It's really great fun to ride this bike. At the twist of the throttle, power comes surging in through the entire rev band like a tidal wave. And long before you have hit the 14,500 red line, you would have crossed any legal speed limit. The throttle response is fast and furious, and even before you are aware, you have crossed into the insane speed territory. Okay, she might not match up to the top speeds of the bigger superbikes when they eventually get there, but in terms of acceleration, it stacks up with the big boys. And what makes it possible is the lighter body weight and an extremely energetic engine, which spits out 1 bhp after another without hesitation. The engine is mated to a 6-speed gearbox with 1 down 5 up gear shift pattern, which makes it easy to shift the gears. There are 3 things I like in a bike. Number 1, she has to look great. Number 2, she must corner well. And number 3, when I turn the throttle on, power must come in a frenzy. And I tell you, after a long ride, that this Zx-10r does all these 3 very, very well. She looks great, she's very rideable with power coming through the rev band, and the nimble chassis makes it a pleasure to drive even in city traffic. And if you're not really stuck on buying a big and heavy superbike, I think you will do very well to take a long, hard look at this one. The Zx-10r, like most bikes in this class, is brought into the country as what is called a fully built-up unit or a CBU, and consequently taxed at over 100% of the import price, which makes it expensive. It's priced at around Rs 15 lakhs, and that's not the kind of money every motorcycle enthusiast might have. And that's a pity, as this Zx-10r would have easily endeared itself to many a riding fanatic with its easy riding dynamics.
What better way to start off the new year than by driving into one of the most colorful states in our country. Welcome to On the Road. I'm Kim Jagtiani. It's a beautiful and chilly morning here in Delhi. I'm about to get on NH8 and drive towards a city that's captured the hearts of millions, the pink city of Jaipur. Linked with all major cities in the country through a network of national highways, a road trip to Jaipur can literally be planned from anywhere. I've hit the highway pretty early. It should take about 5 hours to cover 250 kilometers. My driving companion on this trip is this beautiful automatic Mercedes A-Class, which has got to be one of the best looking hatchbacks in the country. She might be compact, but this car sure packs a punch with enough boot space for a weekend getaway such as this one. She's fully loaded with body-hugging leather seats that are electronically adjustable. The multifunction buttons on the steering wheel also makes life a whole lot easier. The Mercedes A180 is powered by a 1.6-litre 4-cylinder petrol engine that turns out a max power of 122 bhp and 200 Nm of torque. With selectable driving modes that adjust accelerator and transmission response, the sports mode was a clear choice for this highway. It's been a smooth drive so far. The highway is in good condition. There are a surprising number of trucks at this time of day. But overall, I'm really enjoying the drive. The steering wheel is light, which allows me to maneuver the car quite easily on this highway. The engine is quiet and refined, and I've got a great sound system to blast the tunes while I enjoy my drive.
The landscape changes almost as soon as you enter Rajasthan. Emerald green fields on both sides of the highway is a welcome break from the lull of constant concrete. The most well-known spot where everyone takes a break is Midway, literally the halfway mark between Delhi and Jaipur, and also the name of almost every restaurant and hotel in this area. This looks like a good place for a quick stop. Time to get back on the road. I was almost there. I could sense a change in the surrounding area, almost as if I was driving back into history as I neared the old city, the capital of Rajasthan. Jaipur is an epitome of magnificence and vibrancy. Established in 1727 by Sawai Jai Singh II, it is India's first planned city. Jaipur brings forth a new dimension of experience. If splendid fortresses, majestic palaces, tranquil temples and beautiful havelis weren't enough, exquisite handicrafts and spectacular jewelry will win you over. I'm driving right to the heart of Jaipur, the City Palace. Between 1729 and 1732, the City Palace is a blend of Rajput, Mughal and European architectural styles. It is a unique complex of several palaces, pavilions, gardens and temples that occupies almost 1/7 of the old city area. 2 elephants carved in marble guard the entrance of the palace, where columns are studded with floral motifs in gold and colored stones.
The City Palace is one of the most famous attractions in Jaipur, as this is where the former Maharaja once reigned from. The Diwani Khas, or inner courtyard where ceremonies were once held, is actually a simple structure where an impression of intricate design has been created by the clever use of pink and white color on its walls.
Around the corner from the City Palace is Jantar Mantar, one of Sawai Jai Singh's 5 remarkable observatories that represents the height of medieval Indian astronomy. Built from local stone and marble, each instrument carries an astronomical scale for measuring time, predicting eclipses, tracking stars' location as the Earth orbits around the Sun, ascertaining the declination of planets, and determining the celestial altitudes. Bronze tablets, all extraordinarily accurate, were also employed. Jantar Mantar was declared a national monument in 1948 and has now been listed as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. A trip to Jaipur isn't complete without some shopping. Bazaars selling colorful dupattas, leather jutis and handicrafts can't be missed. especially when these little shops are near Jaipur's most iconic monument, Hawa Mahal, or the Palace of the Winds. I was now heading towards the formidable fort perched high on a hill. The roads opened and beautifully curved to the top. Amer or Amber Fort served as the capital for Kachwaha rulers 7 long centuries before Jaipur was built. Known for its artistic influence of Hindu and Mughal elements and built in red sandstone and marble, Amber Fort is one of the most famous forts within the state of Rajasthan. With its large ramparts, series of gates and cobbled paths, this stunningly well-preserved fort overlooks Maota Lake and the sprawling city of Jaipur.
No matter how many times I visit, I can never seem to get enough of the city of Rajput. Jaipur is an apt blend of heritage palaces, art and culture, and the flamboyance of Amber Palace. Well, this can only be experienced in person. I hope you had a great time. I'm on my way back to Delhi, so I'm going to catch you next week.